So welcome back to session 3. The earlier session we have just seen few topics with div. Div actually it is a static event. That is the once the text what we have entered during the coding in the coding aspect that cannot be changed runtime. That is so called as a static information. Even that can be changed using div. So this is very it's the advantage number one if you're using div. See, the next aspect is that there a page it has a static text and as well as a dynamic text, so both text will be there. So there are methods to handle it. So if you want to change a static text runtime, then you have to use that document.getElementById, the id of the div dot inner html. Everything is case sensitive. You have to type as it is, because the html is a friendly programming code, and if you commit any mistakes, even that cannot be reflected. Okay, so that is the drawback of html. So you have to know the basic syntax, then how to work with that. Say for example, if document.getElementById t1.value means it is a dynamic event, so whatever you just type at the runtime, that will be automatically taken. So now we have familiarized with JS and Doom. Now we are just stepping into the next aspect called jQuery. See, there are plenty of concepts available for creating mobile applications. So as of now, if you want to create a very simple mobile apps, what are the concepts that you actually know? So based on that particular input, we are just providing this. So now the next comes to jQuery. What is so special about jQuery? If you are using animation in your web page, the size of the web page will increase. The page will just takes time to get loaded just because of its size. So what's the alternative for this? We can prefer jQuery. So jQuery is a JavaScript library. What is library? Because all the events and methods of JavaScript that will be accumulated into one library, and that can be used in jQuery. And jQuery is a simplified version of JavaScript. If you are using JavaScript, a little bit of programming knowledge is needed. So whereas if you are using jQuery, that can be reduced. So you have to focus only on the design aspect. The last but not the least, it is very easy to learn. So what are things that you're supposed to know if you want to start using jQuery in your mobile application? So HTML, CSS, JS, Doom, and Ajax, and a few concepts are mandatory and few concepts are not mandatory, depends upon your design and size perspective. So now HTML, I think you all know. The CSS is the styling aspect. There is no much care is important, because if you are just taking if you want me to take a CSS is a very vast subject. Okay, it just goes on for a number of sessions to conclude CSS. So for our example, for our application, wherever you need CSS, you can able to access that. If you just go online, you have plenty of CSS script, and you have to customize that based on your mobile application. So everything is easy to use. So what we are going to do as a developer, we are just going to integrate different platforms into a single particular platform based on your particular need. Okay, so that's the thing. So once we are just getting familiar with the concept what I have just said, the next thing is that something more about jQuery. Very easy to learn. You'll write once and you can able to use it as many times as possible, and it reduces the size of the web page. That is highly important. Okay, now you got a very clear picture that what just going to add flavor to your HTML page. Undoubtedly it is jQuery and as well as DYM. And the current websites, that is the very most familiar websites, are Facebook, IBM, Google Plus, and Microsoft. Everybody, they have just start using jQuery just because of this very simplified approach. So what is jQuery? So what you have to do is that you have to copy this code and you have to place it within the head tag. What is a head tag? HTML is the starting tag of your web page. It followed by the head tag. So head tag you supposed to have it this. You should download this from your from online, and you have to put it in your system. Then you have to map its path to the location, simply as it is. Okay, so simply by downloading this script, jQuery script, and you can able to store it in your system. So now we are just going to see a very small thing. Say for example, if you want to hide and control in JavaScript, you'll be doing with a number of coding concept. Whereas if you are using jQuery, simply the tag name dot hide. So if you want to hide a form, form dot hide, div dot hide. It just gives a perspective that every control will be there in your form. Depends upon the need and purpose, you can able to either enable or show it or hide it, depends upon the perspective. So which is a very good sign of reusability, that the concept can be reused. And this is the coding once again. So all the coding I'll be giving it to you, and the thing is that it is just simply take it and put it in your notepad. And as I said that the notepad, you have to save that file as .html. That's as simple as that. Okay, so here I'm just going to hide a paragraph. When I'm just clicking a button, the button is there in the document. As simple as that. This is the hierarchy. This hierarchy that we just came to know based on the Doom architecture. So paragraph, where is the paragraph? How, when we have to hide the paragraph when the button is clicked. Where is the button? The button is there in the document. You just see the syntax how it has been written. Okay, and this is the continue version of the page. So you'll be having, this is the heading, this is the paragraph, this is the another paragraph. Say for example, you have two paragraphs. If you are hiding the paragraph, both paragraph will be hidden. So how to avoid that? By you have to specify ID. That's what the last session we have just seen, that document.getElement by ID or by value. So ID, if you specify, if you are just providing ID for the paragraph, you can select which paragraph that you want to hide. As if in this case, if you just click the click me button, both the paragraph will be hidden because we haven't specified the thing. Okay, so the alternative use of ID, now the same coding. Now we are something we have just add something that we have hide a paragraph. Now we're just going to show a paragraph when we are providing a button based on the ID. The ID will be called using hash button. The hash button will identify which button that you have to click to close the ID. As simple as that. Okay, now if you want to give some animation stuff to your control, once again you have a inbuilt function called fade in. That is, it has an attribute like if you're not providing anything, it will fade in. If you're just providing attribute called slow, it will be slow. If it is 3000 means it's 3 seconds, because 1000 is 1 second. So after 3 seconds it will fade in or fade out. So we have just set the time frame for the event because that can be done. Okay, once again this is the coding for the thing. The earlier program we have written a code to how to hide a paragraph. Now we are hiding the paragraph based on the fading event. So now we have come to a conclusion that how Doom works, how JavaScript plays a role in Doom, then followed by jQuery. So now we have just understood that which way that we have to use the control based on our need and our application. Okay, so the next session it will be resumed shortly, and in detail we will be discussing regarding this. Thank you.